When I first started planning a textile tour of the Netherlands, many people looked at me and went, "Holland? Textiles? Really?" But I knew not only was there a whole lot of fabric to see, there was so much more. So stick with me and I'll show you how to do it. Hi, I'm Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts. I give you tips, tricks, and strategies to help you make the quilt that you want to make. And if you like what you see, please click that subscribe button. I wish I could show you everything about our textile tour of the Netherlands. All the places we visited, all the history we learned, and all the great times we shared. But there's just not enough time. But I can give you a highlight reel. Our plane landed around noon the day before the tour officially started. We had met several of our tour mates on the plane before we boarded in Toronto, and then many more at the hotel. So we all boarded a train into Amsterdam for some sightseeing. And we had no agenda as we wandered around and we snacked on some fries. And when we found the crocheted bicycle, we knew we were right next door to Abe Boken. It's a lovely, colorful shop full of fabric, ribbons, zippers, thread, buttons, and a whole lot more. For some reason, this whole trip, I was really attracted to buttons. And here I purchased a couple of sets. And here I found a beautiful house tapestry fabric that I really loved, but I thought maybe this was a little bit too early in the tour to pick it up. We wandered around a bit more before jet lag told us it was time to head back to the hotel. For much of the tour, we were based in Zutphen. I knew the town from a previous visit, and we had plenty of time to wander the streets and shops and markets. Now, right across from the hotel is this beautiful old church and museum called the Walburgis Church, and it had the most amazing exhibit, the history of life on Earth and human thought on a 28-meter-long embroidered tapestry. It was designed and drawn by Albert Dans, and then it was embroidered on a gray linen by his wife, Dietz Dans Stijmans. And the more I looked at it, the more details I saw. All the little symbols and the variety of stitches used, and according to their grandchildren, who lent the fiber work to the museum, it took 6 years to make, from 1953 to 1959. Then it was back to the hotel for a group dinner and an early night. Our second day started with a walk to the Petra Prin's quilt shop. She and her partner Judith gave us a trunk show. Some quilts were antiques, and some were their own designs, which might be familiar as several were featured in Quilt Mania magazine. We saw a lot of her fabric line, Dutch heritage, and of course we had fun touching and fondling the quilts. One of our crew, Jan, had packed a quilt that she had made from a Petra Prin block of the month. One of the best moments of the trip was when she brought it out for Petra to sign. Their faces say it all. I am proud to say that I did not go crazy here. I still had at home all the fabrics that I'd purchased the last time I was here. So I decided to buy this pattern by Judy Newman, which included all the templates. So now I have another slow sewing project. I did purchase a background fabric, plus a couple of dark ones, which I knew I was missing from my set. And the store gave every single one of us this little gift of fabric, templates, and toffee. Every Saturday in Utrecht, they have their famous Lapsje market. Now, I know I'm saying that wrong, but if you sew and you visit Utrecht, you've got to check this out. A whole street of stalls of fabric and sewing notions like zips, threads, and anything else you might need. There's a brilliant selection of fabric for all types of sewing. I found this Art Deco do-it-yourself bag panel, and I did find the Amsterdam house tapestry here, plus this cute pillow with 2 tabbies that I intend to give my brother for Christmas. Then we jump back on our coach to head to Amersfoort and to visit this lovely studio inside this bridge wall. And I know I'm going to butcher it, but it's called QUILT-IN-A-DAY. Okay, I can't pronounce it, but it means cotton block printing. Our instructor, Natalie Cassay, was so enthusiastic, so knowledgeable, and so patient that we all just leaned in. Look at how invested we all were. We first practiced on paper, then on a cotton bag, and we had so many blocks and patterns to choose from. It was a lot of fun and very inspiring. Now, the next day, we headed north to Friesland for a day all about flax, how they grow it, how do they harvest it, and how do they turn it into linen. Truly, I knew very little about Friesland or flax going into that day, but after we visited a couple of museums and asked a whole lot of questions, we all had a newfound appreciation of all the work that goes into making linen. The hours of work and the number of steps that people used to invest in this crop was quite the revelation, and we could imagine all the toil that it took on their bodies. Now, you might recognize this person here. We had a bonus this day of having Irene of Sugary Dew on the bus with us. She helped us with translating, as well as pointing out some of the differences in the Friesland culture. Plus, she gave us all a sneak peek of her new fabric line. All these bright colors, all these fun themes are just what we know Sugary Dew for. And look at this amazing book that she published and patterns. I can't wait to start making it. After 5 days in Zutphen, we headed over to Bruges, Belgium. We took a sightseeing trip of the old town, as well as sampling the fries, the beer, the Flemish stew, and the chocolate. We also visited the Lace Museum for a class. We had 3 wonderful instructors teaching us the basic stitches. This was another workshop that was surprisingly satisfying. Not only did we make a sample, a number of people purchased a starter set down in the gift shop. We were very lucky to find a stitching chat group of lacers in the building. Young and old, beginner and experts were all in the room, and they generously answered our questions about the technique and pattern. One person stressed for us that this was just a hobby. At this time and place in the world, there are very few people that want to buy lace. That day, we were also lucky to have Anne Cassan of Madame So spend the day with us. Again, it was nice having a local explain the city's habits and culture. Like you can't get tap water in restaurants. It's just a thing, and it's been that way for years. Anne also had a nice gift for us of the Madame So project bag, which we all put to good use with our English paper piecing block we were making on the bus. The bag also came with marking pens and some Belgian chocolate, which didn't last long. On our way back to Amsterdam, we visited a workshop off the beaten path to learn about clog making. This reminded me very much of a sugaring off hut in Quebec. First they fed us, then they explained how clogs were made. Using a master clog as the pattern, it was like cutting a key as you traced over the shape of the master, and the blade mirrored the movement while cutting a block of wood. They used willow for the dry days, and they used poplar wet days. We made one last quilt shop stop at Ellie Prinz, no relation to Petra. This store was filled with energy and fabric, and the owners really made us feel welcome with coffee and stroopwafels. I talked myself into this double aster block pillow design, done in the flag colors of the Netherlands, and it's made with some Dutch farmers' scarves, which we might call bandanas. It's something for me to practice my partial seams on, and there were plenty of other Dutch patterns and fabrics to be had, and they gave us a great send-off. Now, we did a lot more than this. We went to the Freedom Museum and learned about freedom skirts. We went down south and learned about African wax prints. There was the Weavers Museum, the Textile Museum, the Cheese Market, and the Canal Tour. We saw so much of the country, and I loved the Netherlands more than ever. The tour truly was everything I imagined it could be. I want to thank Ann Winter of Verse Straight Travel, who handled all the bookings, all the special needs, all the extraordinary issues, which made the textile tour run so effortlessly. And I am pleased to say that we made her a quilter before the end of the trip. I really hope that we can work together on another adventure in the future. If you want to learn more about my tours and travel events in 2025, take a look on the homepage of my website. And if you want to hear more about past tours, I'll leave a link to that playlist here. Take care, and I'll see you next time.